This is Siri, senior software engineer at a mid-tier product company in Bangalore's electronic city. On a bright, beautiful day like today, she didn't feel like going to office, so Siri has taken work from home. While she is busy working, she receives a notification for a new Bumble match. She thought to herself, "Do I really need a date today?" No. She receives another notification. She was prepared for disappointment, even as she hoped for surprise. Because hope, after all, is the last refuge of the romantically optimistic. Rohit, a software engineer whose Bumble profile claimed he enjoyed long walks and meaningful conversations, though she suspected, as one always suspects in these matters, that his idea of meaningful conversation would involve the latest Marvel movie or his opinion on cryptocurrency. Despite all this, she decided she was ready for the date. As sun set over the beautiful Bangalore sky, the mirror had become Siri's confessor that evening, reflecting back not just her carefully applied kohl, but also her anxieties about meeting Rohit. As Siri walked towards the window, the energy felt different. A man in white was being systematically beaten by 3 others near the bus stop. And what struck Siri most was not the violence itself, but no one seemed to intervene or even appear disturbed by the spectacle, as if beating someone in broad daylight had suddenly become as unremarkable as buying vegetables. Siri, being a reasonable person trained in software testing and logical thinking, told herself she was overreacting, and that there must be a perfectly normal explanation for what appeared to be a perfectly abnormal situation. The beating was still in progress when she reached the street. Siri found herself walking toward the scene despite every instinct, because there is something in decent people that compels them to act decently, even when decency has been suspended for the night. "Stop this immediately, or I shall call the police," she heard herself saying. The largest of the 3 attackers says, "No use calling the police. You are wasting your breath. Sister, police services have been suspended for the night." Police services suspended for the night? Before she could understand, he pressed something heavy and cold into her palm. A gun. An actual gun. "For your safety, sister!" Traveling through the streets of Bangalore in an auto, with the gun inside the red purse in her lap, it occurred to Siri that the man's casual assumption that she might need to kill someone before the day was over suggested that he knew something about the day's agenda that she did not. At the restaurant, Rohit was waiting for Siri. As the conversation progressed from the latest Marvel movies to the cryptocurrency, Siri notices an old man watching them. She tells Rohit, but pretend not to look at the old man directly. Rohit invites the old man to their table. Turns out it's his dad, Professor Rama Rao. The professor, as he is known, offered to drop Siri home. On the way to my home, I noticed an unusual calm in the streets of Bangalore. The professor reintroduced himself, this time with photographs and videos of himself. The professor was a distinguished man in his 70s, whose academic credentials were displayed on every wall in the form of certificates and photographs, including several pictures of him with various education ministers and university officials. But most prominently, the professor pointed to a video of him standing beside a much younger man presenting him an award, as he explained that his most successful student had gone on to become the state's chief minister. When I reached my home, the professor and Rohit offered to stand guard for me at our building gate. As I peeped through the window, I found them both taking turns in guarding the gate. As I sat in my apartment, I recalled the professor saying, "Today marks the beginning of a new phase in social evolution. The day we stop pretending that human beings are naturally good. We are predators wearing the costumes of prey. And that civilization is nothing more than an agreement to postpone our inevitable return to the law of the jungle. This is going to be known as the experiment." I also recalled Rohit's words now. how he as an HR recruited individuals for the military contract jobs, identifying suitable candidates for recruitment, evaluating which individuals possess the necessary combination of intelligence, adaptability, and understanding that would make them effective agents of social transformation. Switched on the TV. The television was broadcasting emergency announcements in multiple languages that law enforcement services had been suspended from 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning as part of a controlled social experiment that citizens should remain indoors for their safety. The news anchor reported that preliminary data suggested fascinating insights into human behavior when freed from the law. The results would contribute to important research in social psychology and urban planning. The experiment had already begun. The phone rang. On the other side was Dr. Priya Sharma from the Institute for Social Research. She was conducting a behavioral study during suspension of justice. How would you respond if someone threatened your family? Have you ever fantasized about harming someone who wronged you? Would you kill someone if you were certain that there would be no punishment? And with each question, I understood more clearly that she was not being surveyed, but rather recruited. I began thinking, this experiment is not about studying human behavior, but about changing it. About creating conditions where people like me will be forced to become people like them, and that everything that has happened today, from being set up on a date, to the beating this morning, to the professor, to the survey, they all have been designed to transform me into someone who can kill without hesitation. I called Rohit to my apartment. Siri, he said, you're overthinking this. It's just one night, just an experiment. Tomorrow everything goes back to normal. I realized that there would be no tomorrow in the sense that he was describing, that the experiment was a new normal in which people like me would either adapt to the new rules or be eliminated by those who had already adapted. So, I adapted